Yes, big up Pete's, man. We are back in the building. Guys, do the usual stuff. Please hit that like button. Please. And also, if you haven't subscribed already, make sure you subscribe to the channel, man. We're trying to really push for that 4K. Season is starting very, very soon as well. So, yeah, want to try and get in as much subscribers as we possibly can and try and grow the community as big as we can. So, today, why are we here? Well, you guys already see the thumbnail. You can see what's up. We're here to talk about Ryan Gravenberch and what's next. I think this one's going to be interesting because everyone kind of already knows my feelings on Gravenberch at this current moment in time. So let me start off there. I think that's probably the best place to start off. Gravenberch last season, he had a good season. Well, he had a good half season in my opinion. First half of the season, I thought, you know what, he's performing very consistently. He's performing at a high level consistently. Then the second half of the season, I don't know, man, it just tailored off completely. I just felt like whether people say fatigue and Slot not playing other players, I hear all of that, and that's it is what it is, right? But I still looked at it and thought that drop off is a little bit too big, though. Do you know what I mean? It's not. Yeah, I just felt like it was a little bit too big, a little bit too big. So yeah, for me, when I look at it in all, he had a good first half of the season, bad second half of the season. So on average, I would say, yeah, it was okay to good, kind of thing. And then I'll just kind of leave it there. But obviously, we didn't expect him to start off the season. We thought obviously we wanted to sign Supermendi and Slot that looked like the kind of midfielder that Slot was kind of looking for. Couldn't get him in. Gravenberch came in, he took his chance, and I think that's all you can ever ask for as a player is take your chances when they do come, right? And he did that. I mean, he definitely did that, especially in those like opening weeks. I promise you, I even thought, right, you know what, Gravenberch is actually really, really playing well. And and I think for me, the best thing about that is you're just performing consistently. That's all I really care about. When we look at the statistics here and all that kind of stuff, you're looking at it and you're thinking, yeah, no, Gravenberch, man, you're really putting in the work, you're really putting in the effort. You know what I mean? Like you're a top player, you're performing, week in, game after game after game after game. You came out of it thinking, okay, Gravenberch is doing his thing. But then it started to, when it starts to like plateau a little bit. And I think that's where Gravenberch kind of, when he hit that plateau where it's not even to do with fatigue, it's just at some point, you obviously, just like in a normal season, your performances are just going to kind of, they're just very samey. You've been doing the same things over and over again. We're all used to it as well. So we're maybe not applauding it as much as we were doing at the beginning of a season because we're so used to seeing it now where it's like, yeah, that's just you now because we feel that you've reached that level where we know what your performances are going to necessarily be like. And yeah, once it got to that plateau, it just kind of dipped for me. And I think heading into next season or this season coming now, right? Obviously suspended for the first game, I believe, of the season. I don't know if it's 3 games or if it's more, but I know he's suspended for that first game. So he's not going to be involved within that one. So you can expect obviously a Curtis Jones, a Bozolai, McAllister. One of those guys obviously going to be, in the two pivot positions, or two of those guys, should I say, and then obviously potentially Florian Wirtz, playing in that number 10. But for Gravenberch, I think I don't have a problem. Like for me, he's a really good squad player anyway. So I don't have like, oh, let's sell him. Like I did think that prior to last season. I will not lie. I would have been happy if we'd sold him. And to be fair, I'm not going to change my mind on that. I definitely would have been fine with selling Gravenberch. Obviously, no one knew that he was going to come in and then have the first half of the season that he did have, but he's done that now. For me, I'm looking at Gravenberch and I'm just thinking, you guys already know, right? I want new midfielders. I need new midfielders. I can't have the same midfielders that we've had. Or it's not even that. It's not even that I can't have these same midfielders. I just think we're missing something within that midfield. Gravenberch, he can provide what he can provide. He's good on the half turn, good at carrying the ball forward. He does provide some type of presence from those deeper areas, but I still think I look at Gravenberch and think, yeah, I still think there's maybe. Oh, and obviously he's still young, so he hasn't really reached that level. But I feel like there's still things missing about you as a player. And in our team, and in terms of what we want to try and do, I'm like, yeah, you're not really the profile I necessarily need. Do you know what I mean? You're not like people like to compare it, like they were comparing him to like Yaya Toure and all of that. I was like, yeah, he's got years before he gets to them kind of levels there because that was again a player who performs so consistently at the top level for a long period of time. at the moment, I think that's where Gravenberch really does need to improve upon is, can I keep this level of consistency? Even if we get to game week 29, can I still perform at, because that's what separates, the best from the best, right? In terms of how we looked at the Mo Salahs, the Virgil van Dijks, the Allisons. People were talking about Ryan Gravenberch in that kind of realm. They were like, "Yo, Gravenberch, he's world class." This, and I'm like, oh, okay, fair enough. If that's what it takes for you to deem someone to be world class, then fair. I'm not going to argue. But if that's the case, then that's the kind of level of expectation we need to hold him to. Do you know what I mean? We need to hold him to that kind of level. And next season, he's going to need to do that. But with Florian Wirtz coming in, it almost seems like one spot in the midfield is now already taken. Like it's officially, okay, we've got that number 10, that's Florian Wirtz's role. It's just now the two pivot positions. Some people say Zabozalai is the most important. Some people say McAllister is our best midfielder. Gravenberch, I feel, yeah, he's when you look at it like that, I'm like, yes, you got Florian Wirtz in number 10. You got Zabozalai who provides what he provides. You got McAllister, supposedly the best midfielder that we've got. Where does Gravenberch kind of fit in there? On top of then, you've still got players like Curtis Jones, who are obviously going to be also thinking to themselves, like, yo, like, where do I kind of fit in here? So whether he is the main guy next season or not, obviously it remains to be seen. And we'll listen, whatever Arne Slot's going to do, he's going to feel like that's the right thing for the team. But I do look at Gravenberch, and we did see in the game against, I think, Athletic Bilbao, we saw Gravenberch obviously dropping into those centre back positions, picking up the ball, starting to initiate attacks and things like that. That could be something that we see moving forward for Gravenberch. But again, I am a little bit like, you're not for me, and again, this is just me just talking to you guys personally. You're not the profile I need in the team. Like, I don't feel like I need this profile to do what we need to do, if that kind of makes sense. I feel like if Gravenberch weren't there, I don't know how much like of a drop off if there would even be if you got in another obviously midfielder of a different type of profile. So yeah, when I'm thinking about Gravenberch, I'm like, next season, I think for you it's just about being able to remain consistent to a certain level, because to me, the best DM, if you want to call them that, in last season was Caicedo. He was the only one I saw consistent from game one to the end of the season. That's what in my personal opinion, that's how I saw it. Now, we can do all the excuses. We can do all of the caveats. We can do all of this stuff. It's not like he broke his leg midway through the season and had to come back from a mad injury. Those things didn't happen. So next season now, or heading into this season coming, I really need to see a level of consistency from Gravenberch. I need to see you keep your game. You can keep your game to the level that you were performing last season. I'm good with that. I thought that that was a calm level when you were performing at that level. If you can't keep it consistently, though, that's where we have to start looking at things. And these are the kind of things that I talk about when we speak about midfields and stuff like that. Of course, everybody is not always going to be performing at 110% every single game. We've seen KDB, we've seen Salah, seen Virgil, I've seen Ali, I've seen them stink for periods as well. Maybe not long, of course, but just I've seen them have periods within their careers where they've just stunk for whatever reason, right? So I'm not expecting you to be doing 10 out of 10s every single week and all that. No, that's unrealistic, and I wouldn't expect that from someone like him anyway. I'm more looking at someone like Gravenberch, and I'm like, if you can maintain the levels, so let's just say at his best, he's a 10 out of 10, right? But on average, I would like to see you at like no lower than like a 7, and just keep that kind of going. And you're not dropping below 7s, even on your bad days, 6.5s to 6 at the bare minimum. And that's if Liverpool stink in general and you just happen to be a part of that, then I've got no problems with that. My issue was, again, last season, you're going from 10s and then you just went straight down to 4s and 5s. Like, and it was such a big drop. If you just think it becomes noticeable. Now, whether because he's now got the experience in his legs and whatnot, he's able to, keep that up going, or keep that going, should I say, for next season, then fairs. If he can do that, I've got no problem with it. At the moment, we don't really know. So I need to see that. I think that's the key for me for Gravenberch next season is about the consistency. You are a good player. Yeah, I'm trying to say, he's not like he's a dead player or dead ball or nothing like that. He's a good player. And if we've got him here, you just work with what you've got. So he's here. So if you're going to be here, I need to see you stay at that consistent level. And I think if you stay at that consistent level, all of this rude, and I know it's obviously tongue in cheek and it's all jokes and all that kind of stuff, But then you can really start having these kind of conversations with people later on. You can really start putting him in the same kind of convos that you're trying to put him in with the Caicedos, with the Declan Rices, and people of that kind of ilk. At the moment, he's below that kind of level. I don't think he's reached that level yet. And I think it's those kind of players, I think they're I don't want to say a level above, but well, no, I will say I feel like they're a level above what he is at this current moment in time. That's not to say that he cannot reach there. That's not to say that he's not good or anything like that. He's not my type of player. And again, like I say, he's not someone I'm looking at and I'm trying to think, okay, what are you going to necessarily add to the team? But if he's here and Slot rates him and whatever, then cool. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to see him in centre back. So if I see him there, I'm not going to blame him. I'm going to have to blame Liverpool and the recruitment team for seeing him playing centre back next season, kind of thing, because that's just not his kind of role. He needs to be in that DM position, or even potentially further forward. Maybe even I say DM, but maybe like an 8 position. Maybe he might thrive there instead. Who knows? But for me, again, consistency. I need to see consistency from Ryan Gravenberch, because even I'm looking at the stats and I just wanted to rifle through them so you guys can kind of see, but you can check out yourself. Pass completion is good. Passes completed, within games and stuff like that. All good touches. He's got that carries into the final third. He's doing about 2.14 per 90 minutes. He missed controls are quite low. Only 1.57 per game. He's dispossessed less than 1 time per game. So there's something there. There is something there, and he seems like he's got all the fundamentals. He's got all of the attributes to be able to perform at this kind of level moving forward. I just want to see it. That's all. I really, really just want to see it. So hopefully we see that from Ryan Gravenberch, and then that's really it for me when I'm looking at like what's next for someone like him. Like I said, I know big people are like, oh, he's amazing, and I hear that. If you feel like he is, then he is. I'm not going to argue. I'm not really doing all the argument stuff with people in terms of how you're in terms of like your own opinion. That's up to you. But for me, I need to see consistency. When I see consistency, that's when I can rate it. That's when I can give him the props and all that kind of stuff. Until then, for me, I'm like, I don't need him in the first team. And to be honest, he's not in my first 11. If I was doing a first 11, Gravenberch doesn't make it, but he wouldn't have made it anyway. Do you know what I mean? So it's just one of those kind of things. But I would like to know what you guys think in regards to Ryan Gravenberch. Obviously won Young Player of the Year last season. What are you guys looking for in terms of what are you guys looking for when you're thinking about Ryan Gravenberch? Like, what is the next steps for someone like him? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section, people. I'll be back soon with another What's Next. So make sure you guys check that out and stay blessed.